Hello, everyone. Hi, Simona. Good to see you. Great.
Hello, Jung,
Jung,
not
yes,
Jung.
it's Jung. Yes, indeed. Great to see you, Simona. Hello,
Great to see
Rosemary.
you too.
Hi, Jung.
And I see Ola's online and Zoe as well. I encourage you as well, if you can, if it's convenient to do so, to have your cameras on. It's lovely to be nice to see your lovely faces. Great.
Oh, you're a flatterer.
Well, we'll have lovely faces, you know.
Gets you to most places, doesn't it? Flattery.
Well, it's a genuine expression of
Yes. No.
Yeah.
I believe you. I believe you. The sun's shining. Look at it. I can see your garden looking lovely.
Yes. I mean, I'm not too far away from you, Rosemary. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So maybe as we're waiting, maybe you could just tell me, share in the chat where you're dialing in, where you're calling in from. Introduce yourselves to others on the call. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, I will start.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can put it in the chat if you want, or speak. Up to you. Yeah.
Oh, I can speak.
Yeah, please.
I'm Simona. I'm calling from Rome, Italy, and I'm very excited to participate to this webinar. And nothing. I worked with Jung in some coaching sessions, so I know him and his method. But I'm very curious about self-awareness. That is the topic of today.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you for saying hello to Simona and for sharing.
No problem. No problem.
Looking forward to the self-awareness session. Thank you. Rosemary?
Oh, I've just sent. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you. So from.
Yes,
okay.
I live in a little village.
Yes.
It's slap bang in the middle of lots of other things. There's Oxford, there's Bicester, there's Buckingham, and there is Waddesdon. Yeah, the home of the Rothschilds.
Very famous family there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a wonderful place to visit too.
That was great. That's great. Thank you, Rosemary. And you have Ola. Hello, Ola. Would you like to share, or whether put in the chat, or up to you? Okay. Oh, I'm not sure if you're able to. And Zoe, hello.
Hi, John. I'm sorry.
Oh, hello, Ola. Go ahead.
I am driving. It's just that I am driving, which is why I'm unable to participate a lot. I'm hoping to arrive home and then be able to interact more.
Thank you, Ola.
I am in Dubai.
Great. Yes, thank you for dialing in for Dubai, and please do drive safely. More importantly, thank you very much, Zoe.
Hello. Yes, Jung. I'm not in such distant regions of the world. No, I'm just should be very near to you in this mad city of London. Yes. So, calling in from my own home here in London. Pleased to be joining you here and now.
Yeah. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you for joining. Great. So we'll start. So I'll share my slides. Thank you for your welcome, for saying hello. That's really great to introduce yourselves to everyone on the call. So share my slides at the moment. Let me know if you can see them. If you can see some slides. Can you see the slides? Can you let me know?
Yes, I can see them.
Okay, that's great.
Yes, I can see that too.
Okay, great. So
I can't, in fact. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I should be sharing my screen. So resume share. Can you see them, Zoe?
No.
Okay, that's odd. Stop share, and then I'm going to share again. How about now?
No.
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Okay. So Zoe, you said you can't see them just yet. Okay. Is it maybe your connection?
I'm sorry, I had another Zoom session this morning. There was something faulty with it as well.
Oh, I see. Okay. What I'll do then, if just to purpose of continuity, I can maybe describe what's on the slides.
Please.
That will be, hopefully that'll be okay. And the opportunity, of course, this is a recorded webinar, so you'll be able to see what's while I'm talking and the slides as well through that. Right. So I'd like to welcome you all to today's session, our personal mastery webinar. This is the second in the series. The first one took place last month, beginning of last month, where I basically introduced the overall concept of personal mastery. In today's session, I want to explore with you the topic of self-awareness. It's such an important topic, very important skill to have, and it's actually fundamental to the idea of self-leadership. A little bit about me. Some of you probably know me already. Either I've worked with you as a coach, or I've had interactions. You know me through work, maybe through church even. I know Zoe, you and I know each other from church, and I think I'm working as a coach now for almost 2 years, and self-awareness is something that I've been learning a lot about and exploring, and continue to explore and learn and develop for myself, because it's so key to the idea of being a better leader of oneself. And what can you expect from today's session? In the next, just under an hour or so, we'll explore the topic of self-awareness, what it actually is, what are the benefits that you'll get from having better self-awareness, and more importantly as well for yourselves here on this call is, what are some strategies that you could use, some practical strategies that you could use in order to enhance your own self-awareness? And then to look at what some next steps are, we'll walk you through towards the end of the call. And there'll be opportunity as well for you to have some time to ask some questions as well. Hope that all sounds great. In terms of my general model, my blueprint for self-leadership, what I call personal mastery, the self-awareness is a key, is fundamental to that. And hence in this diagram, which basically encapsulates my overall coaching methodology, you'll see in the center is self-awareness. And it's basically looking at what you do, what you say, what you feel, and what you think. Those are things that are most important relating in order to help you become a better version of yourselves. And having better awareness enables you to make better decisions about your own personal growth. And also within this aspect, you develop these different aspects you see, be it self-management, be it having resilience. All of those are reinforced through having better self-awareness. And as well, what I call personal mastery is something that you get from practicing continuously for continuous growth. I'll continue here with a sort of a phrase which I came across very recently that encapsulates what I like about self-awareness. And it's written by Veronika Togoleva, who I believe is a Ukrainian author. And she says, to know yourself, you must sacrifice the illusion that you already do. It speaks to me very much because I used to think that I was very self-aware, that I knew a lot about myself, until someone else or other things happened that basically pointed out that wasn't so much the case. And still, I'm on this journey of becoming better and more self-aware. So what is self-awareness? I describe it as being the ability to monitor and also to understand what your own thoughts and emotions, what are your communication, the words you say, for example, and also the actions that you take. And to give you a little story from my youth, in my 20s, I would go to Hong Kong. My parents are from Hong Kong. I have lots of family in Hong Kong. And so we'd go visit Hong Kong. And I'll be walking with my relatives, maybe my mum, my brother. And then each time I walk along for a few outings, I will be stopped by the police. So the police officers are out patrolling, they're just walking around doing their business, just keeping an eye on things. And out of all us as a group of people, I will be the one person each time who will be stopped by the police. And it's quite normal for the police to ask people show their ID, and whether you have ID cards in Hong Kong. But I will be the one person in my group each time that would be stopped to show my ID. And it became a bit of a joke amongst my family. They would laugh, oh, it's Jung again, he's getting stopped by the police again. It became a common occurrence. And aside from being quite funny, maybe from their perspective, I felt, well, what is it? Why am I feeling? Why is this? What's happening here? Why am I the one who's getting singled out each time by the police? In Hong Kong, you have a group of us, and I'm the one being picked out. It's not as if I'm, got different appearance to everyone else, given that we're in Hong Kong, lots of Oriental looking people there. I was the one person. And it made me think, what is it about me that is making me stand out to the police? And it took me a while, a long time, to actually understand what it was. And I wonder if you might even guess what it is. Was it because I had a look of someone who was suspicious? I don't know. But then I figured out what it was, and I acted accordingly. See, I realized the reason why I was being targeted by the police each time is because I was aware of the police. I was aware of the police officers when they were around. And not only that, I realized what it was the fact that they could see me, see them. So they could see me looking at the police when they're around. My awareness was such that I could see them and I knew of them, and my situational awareness, I guess, was pretty good, but they could see that there was something about me that meant I noticed them. So that was really it. They saw me seeing them. And it took me a long time to realize what that was. And then I made an adjustment. If I did see them, I did notice them, I looked at them, if I did look at them a bit more discreetly. I didn't sort of look at them like that, narrow my eyes and look at them. I just went on my usual business, walking along. But if I noticed them, I didn't pay attention to the police. And the great thing afterwards was that I didn't get stopped anymore by the police. And it was something that I learned a lot through just a journey of self-awareness. Why was it something that was happening to me? And then I was able to reflect and be able to monitor what was going on, and then to better understand, and then to make an adjustment. So that self-awareness was key to me, making an adjustment to what I was doing, the way I was behaving, and also to an extent to the way I was actually thinking and feeling. So that's the sort of story that I've realized many, many years later that I've learned a lot from. So to explore self-awareness a bit more, I have this little diagram here I'll show you. So we are effectively, we have our thoughts and we have emotions. This is us, right? And with our thoughts, we sort of, we have going around in our heads, we have our emotions, which we are feeling. And all this is in response to what's happening in the outside world, right? We have people, you and me, other people, strangers, people we know, people we see on the media, whatever, and the general world around us, what is happening. And this provides us with feedback, input towards us. And then we, as a result of what we think and the emotions that come from this, we communicate, we say things, we also do some things, we do actions, we behave in a certain way. And so really the self-awareness is a continual thing that we do, where we think about, well, what is it I think about whatever's happening? What do I feel about this? And also, what do I say about this? What are the words? How do I communicate? And then what do I do about this? So we are continually receiving input and then responding or reacting in a certain way. That's because that's just the way we are. We're also able to make sense or monitor what is happening inside our minds, inside our emotions, and then how we respond. What do we say, or even how do we react? Because sometimes we may not be able to choose how we respond. We just react, right? Imagine when someone, you're driving along and someone cuts you up in traffic. Some of us may feel a bit angry. There's this term called road rage, right? We'll react. And that is more of a reaction rather than a chosen response. So self-awareness is being able to monitor and understand what is it that you're thinking, what's it that you're feeling, what do you say, and what do you do? So this is a general thing relating to self-awareness. Through this diagram, I wanted to sort of show you as a model for how we go on with our lives every day, be it at work, be it in our personal life. How is that landing for people here? Any questions at all that you might have on what I've just shown here? Let me know in the chat. Okay.
Jung, sorry,
Yes.
it's Simona.
Yes. Yes, Simona.
Can
Please.
you replace self-awareness with self-consciousness?
Okay. Well, that's a good question. Self-consciousness. And what do you mean by self-consciousness?
I'm Italian. I'm sorry, my English is not perfect.
No, it's good.
But I'm talking about to be
Yes.
conscient,
Yes.
aware.
Yeah.
So self. I don't know if you say self-consciousness,
Okay.
but I would like to know if it is the same thing of self-awareness, to be aware, conscious about what is happening to you, relating to what is happening outside, and how to respond, how you communicate, and so on.
Yeah.
It's something about our how can I say, conscious. Did you get it?
Okay, so let me just take a step back on that then. Thanks for the question, Simona. So the word consciousness can be interpreted in different ways. Absolutely. So we can say in English, for example, I'm conscious of this or whatever, but basically that means like an awareness. But then there's also like, what is consciousness? I mean, that's a bigger maybe a philosophical question, could be even a spiritual question, right? But it's here in this context, it's just simply just being aware of something. You could say, I've noticed this is something that's happening in my thoughts.
Okay.
I'm noticing my emotions that I'm feeling. I'm noticing the way I say words. I'm noticing how I'm responding to your question. I'm noticing how, what the way I'm behaving, for example. That is more of the noticing rather than a consciousness or whatever, and you could be aware as well of what is within your conscious, there's conscious and unconscious, right? But here I'm just talking very generally in the sense of noticing, simply just being aware.
Okay, I understood that the word has a different meaning in English, so I understand. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you for your question, Simona. Appreciate that. Great. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Great. So we come to time now to do a little bit of an exercise with you all. So I'd like to invite you to think of a recent event. It could be at work, it could be in your personal life that has happened recently. You don't have to share it. It's just something for you to reflect on. And going back to this particular diagram, talk about self-awareness, I'd like you to spend a few moments just to sort of think about, well, what is it that you've had what thoughts do you have that you noticed? What emotions did you feel at that time? And how did you respond or even react? What was it that you said specifically? And what are the actions that you took during that time? So I'd like you to just spend maybe just two minutes, shouldn't be too much time, just to think about something, choose something first, an event, and then go through what is it you thought? What is it the emotions that you felt? What did you say? And what did you do about that situation? So I'd like to invite you to do that for a couple of minutes. I'm counting the timer now. So as you're doing that, I'm going to I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about how self-awareness has been for me as you do in this. First of all, before we go into, as we go into this exercise, any questions? Anything that's unclear? Okay.
Jung,
Yes.
just another thing.
Please, Simona.
Self-esteem and self-awareness are linked in some way?
That is a good question. I'd say they all are linked. Yes. Yeah. They're definitely linked. And that's something that can be explored in future. I mean, it's a big topic in a way, self-esteem. Yeah. But having awareness of and esteem of our level of self-esteem is very key. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's your question for now. Yeah. Right. So yes, I invite you to spend the next couple of minutes to go through this exercise, choose an event, and then think about what is it that you felt, what is it you were thinking, what you said, and what you do about it. Okay. Okay, another minute. Great, thank you for taking part in that exercise. And I'd like to ask you to maybe share something, if you're comfortable to share, that is, right? And something that you've noticed through doing this exercise on self-awareness. And you can both, you could speak, you can put it in the chat as you wish. So let me know.
Jung, it's Rosemary.
Hi, Rosemary.
Yeah, it's something I'm happy to share.
Please do.
It's rather there's a bit of sadness to it, because I lost a friend 2 weeks ago, and he was also our neighbor, and we lived next to each other for 30 years before we moved away a year ago. And he suddenly passed away. Now, initially it was shock. then the sadness, and then the most, I think the saddest part of it was I suddenly feel a lot of regret that I didn't get to know him better.
Mm.
I thought I knew him, but yesterday I found out that he was an avid ballroom dancer. You know, he hid his light under a bushel. He never told us that.
Yeah.
He loved sport. So we used to talk about cricket and tennis and things like that. But what he never told us was that he just didn't watch sport. He participated in it.
Mm.
And he encouraged other people and young people to do it. And the awareness I have about the whole thing is I feel regret. I can't do anything about it, but maybe going forward, I shall, maybe next time with other people, I will not do the same thing, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's I don't want to make it sound morbid or anything.
Yes.
He was a wonderful character, and his send-off was brilliant. You know, we all had to wear red because he was an Arsenal supporter, and you know, nobody's perfect. So and it was very jolly. And there were about 400 people there. That alone spoke volumes. You know, to have so many people.
Yes.
And all I can do now is I'm trying not to feel too much regret. I'm trying to also use that maybe to get closer to his 3 children. I know them quite well, but you know, basically I've learned
Yes.
something. I don't know, does that sound?
I appreciate that you shared this, Rosemary. Thank you for that. And
No worries.
what I noticed as well is when you said, I don't know what to do with this, is that, well, you just did something. You shared this story with
Okay.
the event. So here you are, you shared it, and you acted on it. Whereas if you kept it to yourself, it would have been a different feeling. I mean, it's down to, it's a personal choice, clearly, but you shared it. And I think that maybe says something to you, you know, as well. So thank you for that. Thank you, Rosemary, for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to share something? Maybe a key point that they've, some insight that they've gained from doing this exercise.
Jung, Simona, sorry,
Yes,
I speak a lot, I talk a lot. If
this is fun.
someone,
Great. I was there a lot.
I need to share.
Please do.
So I thought about a work experience. It was very exciting to be invited as a panelist. I'm an art historian in a Serbian conference, international conference about art of 21st century and taboos, about taboos.
Yes.
You know what? I know art very well. I feel confident, but at that moment I said, oh wow, yes, it's amazing. I will participate for sure. And after some days, I understood that I didn't have the energy to do the presentation as I wanted to do it. So perfect. And so I invented an excuse to don't do the conference. And this was for me, you know, like something that a failure. I felt a failure. But the woman that is organizing the conference, she said, "This is not the first conference, Simona. I will see you in the next." Of
And
course, the point is I invented an excuse to avoid doing something that I was really excited, and it was an honor to be part of that panelist.
yes,
So I asked myself, but why? Why you did that?
and when you say that you had the question why, what was your answer to that? Why?
Because I'm a perfectionist, and I don't. I cannot stand with a presentation that is not perfect. I didn't have the time to do it as I wanted, and I prefer to give up. And in the end, I said I could bring a word sheet and talk about my topic.
Yeah.
It would have been okay for the panelists to listen to my voice and to my topic, instead of having a graphic presentation that it was amazing. And so the why is because I'm a perfectionist, and I'm aware that I need to really, really work on that.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Simone, for sharing that, and sharing that with such clarity as well, and honesty. So thank you for that. And that is thanks for sharing it to everyone in this group. Thank you.
You're
so much.
welcome.
Right. So we'll move on there. So this is an exercise, just simply very straightforward, just taking us back to a certain event that we've been through. Could have happened recently, could be in the past, and just sort of basically thinking, well, what we're calling what actually happened, what we actually think about it, what did we feel, what do we say, and what do we do? You know, these are all important aspects. I'd like to explore some of the advantages, disadvantages, and also benefits of associated with self-awareness. So in terms of having low self-awareness, and these are just examples, right? They're indicative. It doesn't mean they're automatically being the case, but it may point to having low self-awareness. So if someone were to have a very low self-awareness in a situation, then it could mean they might have an inability to manage themselves, right? To exercise self-care, right? For example, someone is tired, they're not aware that they're tired, then it could be down to their a lower sort of level of self-awareness in that situation. Having low self-awareness could mean as well a poor ability to make important decisions, because we're not aware of what would make that a decision that is good for us. Also, there may be difficulties associated with learning and development, because if we have low self-awareness, we might not know where we are. What's our level of competence or knowledge in a particular area? If we don't have that self-awareness, then how can we make a meaningful improvement? We may well improve in something, but it may not be meaningful. And as well, very importantly, is for people who have generally low self-awareness, they may have some challenges when it comes to communicating with other people, because they don't know how their words that they're using, the expressions, or maybe even gestures that they're using, how they are landing, how they're being heard by other people, how they're being received. But there are clearly some benefits, lots of benefits from having self-awareness, more self-awareness. Ability to make better decisions, I mentioned that earlier. The ability to manage what your actions are, what words that you use. The ability as well to better manage what you're thinking and emotions. For example, if you have a certain pattern of thinking negatively about something in a situation, well, you have the ability with your self-awareness to notice, oh, actually, I can make a change to what I'm thinking. And therefore then to empower yourself to think more positively. be it about yourself or about a situation. You'll also have better empathy towards others. And this is an aspect as well, clearly illustrating that having more self-awareness is a component of having better emotional intelligence, right? That be ability to connect with other people. You'll also be a more effective learner with self-awareness because you have a sense of a better awareness of how you are as a learner. What makes you learn more effectively? Even if down to things like, well, what are the routines? What are the what's the time of day that I would best be a learner to do my studying? And clearly as well, having more self-awareness means that you'll become a better leader of yourself and of other people. Because if you know, or you become better aware of what you're like, what you think, etc., and you're able to moderate that through having self-awareness, better understanding of yourself, then you can empathize better with other people and you'll be able to help them as well. So how can self-awareness be improved? And I'll share a number of strategies here, and you may well have some as well. And if you have some, please do share. It'd be great to see what those are. I would make a recommendation as well to make self-reflection an intentional habit, and that's with questions. So whether you do your self-reflection, just, you spend some time on your own, you may well write in a journal, you may well speak to somebody, is start with these types of questions. And it don't have to be these questions, it could be other questions as well, but you could start with, how am I feeling right now? What am I thinking about this? How did I communicate when a certain situation occurred? What did I do when the situation occurred? So these are just like tapping into what was I thinking, feeling, what did I say, what did I do? And my last question here, as a list of examples, is having the self-awareness to think, well, what do I want to keep doing? So maybe some things that you did or that were good, that you want to do more of. But also you could ask things like, well, what do I want to stop doing? Maybe it's a certain way of communicating. Maybe it's certain thoughts. If you have a negative thought, you want to have less of those. You want to start making those more positive. So here's sort of awareness to actually spur you on to doing something differently and more impactful for you. Any other ideas of how self-awareness can be improved? Maybe those that you already have in your own practices. Please do share, either in the chat or speak up. Okay. Other aspects. So I ask is to say, seek qualified feedback from others. And that means asking other people to provide you with feedback. And I also say this should be qualified feedback. And the reason I say qualified is someone who knows you in a particular context, be it at work, if you're interested in self-awareness, your self-awareness of what you do at work and how you behave at work. For example, you wouldn't go out into the street and ask a random stranger to give you feedback, because they have no context, they don't know you, and it wouldn't be reasonable. So you want to have qualified feedback, someone who knows what they've got some experience of being with you to give you the feedback that you need. And also it's feedback as well that is, I say, objective as possible. Obviously and try to be more positive as well. So what can you do with that feedback, rather than just taking on that feedback at face value and just, if it's negative feedback, then taking it to heart. One other important strategy as well is clearly to work with somebody who can provide you with qualified feedback or respond to you and help you to look at your situation. And that is, for example, working with a coach. Work with someone who can ask you with questions to help you reflect, help you develop your own self-awareness. And also a coach will be typically somebody who would ask you questions that maybe you hadn't thought of. As well, a coach could ask you questions that would highlight to you a blind spot in your thinking or the way you behave or what way you say things. So a coach can be there to raise your overall self-awareness and can be very specifically targeted at a particular area where having an improved self-awareness can be of benefit to you. For example, at work or in a work situation, maybe you have, you're leading meetings and you sort of wonder why meetings typically may end in a certain way or progress in a certain way. Having a coach there could actually be asking you questions to help you understand better, to bring up to your consciousness. And I say this word, I was thinking of Simona, to make something more, you may be consciously aware. So you're more aware rather than unconscious, because sometimes we're not maybe unconsciously aware of something. So to bring something up to our conscious awareness, we become more self-aware. So working with a coach is an important aspect, strategy to use to improve our own self-awareness. So in summary, I believe, and I strongly believe I know that personal mastery starts with self-awareness. It's why I put self-awareness at the core of my coaching methodology. And there are many benefits to be gained. Some of those, for example, being able to better manage ourselves in terms of how we think, how we feel, the words we say, and what we do. And that means then we can lead ourselves better, we can lead others as well. And we show better empathy for other people because we have a better understanding of ourselves. And also the great news is that self-awareness is not something you're just born with. It's something that can be developed. It's like a muscle. You go to a gym, you work a muscle, that muscle gets stronger. Same with self-awareness. And sometimes we may think, yeah, we may be quite self-aware in such a situation, but there's always room for growth. And I also think as well that the idea that the discipline of personal mastery, it continues with continually developing our self-awareness. So it's not as if we get to a certain place in time and it's a level where we say our self-awareness is sufficient, thank you, and then stop. I think it's important to keep working at our own self-awareness through reflection, through working with coaches, through taking ourselves into certain learning situations to understand more about ourselves, to know ourselves, and even better, to actually understand ourselves. And that means then we can keep on developing as well. So here's some questions for you to think about as you come away from today's webinar. What's a key learning that you took today relating to self-awareness? And if you feel comfortable with sharing, share those in the chat or speak up. And as well, what do you commit to do as a result of the learning today? So anyone would like to share on what they've learned and what they commit to do?
Oh, Jung, it's Simona.
Hi, Simona.
First of all, it was important for me understanding the difference between self-esteem and self-awareness, even if you said that they are very linked. When I read your presentation, I understood that self-esteem is something that regulates our way of communicate with others, of behave in terms of reacting to things that happened. So I didn't understood before that the self-awareness was something that can regulate our way of acting, thinking, behaving.
Yeah.
I was confused with the self-esteem.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you for speaking up about that. So when you first asked the question, basically I answered you saying that they were related, but they're not the same thing. I didn't quite say specifically they were not the same thing, and in fact they are not the same thing, but they are related, right? I mean, a lot of people might confuse self-esteem with, they may relate it to like confidence, but actually it's more than just confidence, right? I mean, there's a book, and it's about the 7 pillars of self-esteem, which include living consciously, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, living with purpose. Some of the pillars that are in there. And so that's self-esteem, which is, so someone with low as I understand it, someone with low self-esteem may well have a low confidence about themselves. They may not have low trust in what they would do. So that is the aspect of self-esteem. But I say that if we have better self-awareness, then our self-esteem can be better developed, because then we become more aware of what is it that about ourselves that gives us a low self-esteem, and how can we work to actually improve that. Does that help in that understanding?
Yes, it was more clear for me now, and they go together in a way, because more self-awareness you have, the more self-esteem you can have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Simone, for the question. Does anyone else have any questions or any insights to share? I see others have joined. I see Kim, you joined. Thank you for joining. And okay, so we come to the end of our webinar today, and I'd like to share that I'm going to be running my next webinar in 2 weeks' time now, on the 21st of June, and I'll continue my personal mastery journey with you in these webinars. And the next topic will be self-management, which a lot of people will say is related to self-care. So if we have, for example, we have better self-awareness, then we're more aware of how can we look after ourselves, how can we manage our emotional life, how can we manage the thoughts that we think, how can we live better physically, and how can we be better for ourselves and for the people around us. So self-management is very important, and I'll be exploring that in that webinar on the 21st of June. I also will have an important announcement too, that I'll share in that webinar as well. And as well, as always, I invite you, if you want to work with me on more personalized coaching support, then I would invite you then to book a strategy call with me to really first of all explore what are some requirements that you have, and to see how coaching can be of help to you, to help you move forward and achieve your goals and become a better version of yourself and develop more personal mastery. Any other questions at all that on the topics I've raised relating to self-awareness, or indeed relating to the next webinar? Hello, Kim. Hello. Good to see you. So I see, Zoe, you put some comment there. So I recognize a strategy to promote your personal improvement. I can be more active in seeking other persons for qualified feedback. Thank you for that, Zoe. Thank you for that. Is there anything more that you'd like to explore or ask relating to that, Zoe? Okay.
Well, perhaps I could wonder, perhaps I could invite more opportunities, more wider territories in order to find these qualified persons.
Yeah.
Perhaps I just need to expand, extend myself a bit more, recognize those who can be of the best opinion to respond accordingly.
Okay. Yeah. And when you say, and this is just to explore this, when you say best opinion, what does that mean to you?
As you say, qualified, someone who has sufficient perspective.
Yeah.
And whom I can respect in yes, the feedback they provide.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because obviously feedback can be both, we may perceive it as being good or bad, right? So I think certainly sometimes we may well feel uncomfortable actively seeking feedback from people because we may well fear that the feedback could be negative, right? Even though it's intended to help. So that's something that we may all become aware of too. Yeah. Great, thank you, Zoe, for speaking and exploring that further. Anything else? Anyone else wants to share? Right. So any other questions relating to the topics we covered so far on self-awareness, or indeed to do with personal mastery in general? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'd like to just finish then with some details here. If you want to connect with me, here's my email and there's my website details there. You can presume as well, if you're on LinkedIn, you can connect me with there. I also have my YouTube channel and I'm on Facebook and Instagram under Jung Personal Mastery, the name of my company. So there will be opportunity to view the recording of today's webinar. I will post that and I'll send that through to you. Or I'd like to thank you for showing up and attending today's webinar and sharing and participating and asking questions and getting into the actual exercises. And I look forward to seeing you soon, and take care. Thank you.